Check it out. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make $1 million. Okay, probably not. But what I am going to be showing you is some tips that you can use to make more money and enjoy Instacart more. All right, let's get to it. So tip number 1, double bag everything, whether it's plastic, especially if it's paper. It is so much easier when you bag up the groceries using 2 bags instead of 1. I can't tell you how many times I've walked up to a customer and the bag ripped right in front of them, or as I'm walking up, the bag rips and there's some kind of jar in there and then it falls on the ground and it breaks. In order to prevent those kind of situations from happening, what you can do is double bag the groceries, whether it's plastic or paper, and avoid the headache, avoid the possible conundrum that you can run yourself into. So definitely double bag everything. It's recommended, highly. And of course, use discretion, because if it's a small order and it's not really required to put a double bag, just don't do it. Because I've gotten a lot of orders where they're like 2 items, 1 item, cheese or ricotta cheese, or 1 gallon, half gallon of milk, some like 1 strawberry, like 1 packet of strawberries, 1 pound of strawberries, some ridiculous things that I've seen. But you just pretty much use your own discretion. Those kind of things you don't gotta double bag. Tip number 2, look at the items for the store before you go in. If you have a good idea on what you gotta get before you go inside, it'll help you out. If you look at the order before you walk inside, for example, I'm making sure I have to go to the dairy, I gotta go to the deli for the cheese. I know where that's at exactly, in King Cullen, because that's where I gotta go. That's obviously in produce. You got tulips going in the household, well, floral section. Sometimes it's in a different section, but for the most part, I know what I gotta get. Because if you can get a good idea on what you need to pick up before you go inside the store, you don't have to just stand there and try to figure out where you gotta go. If you have a good idea on what you gotta get before you go inside, and you don't have to start running around. Well, either way, you do gotta run around, but you'll know where to run to. As long as you know what items you have to get on the list and you go in the store knowing that, you'll be golden. Tip number 3, give it a really good eye whenever you're checking the fruits, because sometimes there could be a rotten one that's hidden, and you could be the poor soul to be the one bringing it to a customer, and that could affect your rating. And next thing you know, your rating is plummeting and you're wondering why. Well, it could be something just as simple as picking the right fruit. You need a 4.7 rating to get priority access, so it's definitely recommended that you pick the right items for the customer so they can be happy, and then you'll be happy in turn. And believe me from experience, when you don't have priority access, it sucks. Tip number 4, remember when I said double bag everything? When you do that, the bags can be heavy, right? So it's good to have disposable bags, so you can put 2 of each of those bags that you bagged up into the disposable bags, and it can be easier to carry. Normally, I'll just keep the bags in my cart, and as I go to my car, I'll put them in the disposable bags, so when I get to the customer's house, it'll be a lot easier, so I can just go to my trunk, pull out the bags, 1 or 2 or 3, whichever one it is. It can be heavy, so this is something you do if you know you can carry a lot of weight. Usually you won't take a heavy call if you know you can't take that much weight. But when you have those heavy bags and you want to be able to carry them without them ripping, the plastic handle can rip, or paper bags, they just tend to tear. It's something that happens. You can put them in the disposable bags, and it'll make it easier for you to carry them to the customer's house or up a building, especially if it's a building or a hotel or a warehouse where you got to go to the back, or who knows where you got to go. It's always random. So it's always good to have disposable bags so you can just put them quickly into your car and bring them quickly to the customer. Makes life easier. Tip number 5, do deli items first. Just like in tip number 2, look at the items first before you go inside, and when you see that you have a deli order, boar's head or whatever the case may be, go to the deli first and take care of the order before you hit start. Sometimes they'll add deli items after, and it won't really hit your phone, your app, until you hit start shopping. That's happened to me a few times. What you can do to avoid that is, as soon as you get to the deli, just hit start shopping and get the order first for the deli. As soon as you see that your number is going to come up, just hit start shopping, so you can see if, just in case they added another deli item after you arrived at the store. You can find out about that pretty quickly after you hit start shopping. But yeah, man, me personally, the deli is the first thing I do. Even if it says produce, I scroll through and I'll check to see if there's a deli item. If I see that there's a deli item, then I'm gonna go do that first, get that over with, you know what I mean? Just so I don't gotta look back on that. I don't want to have to look back on deli items. Tip number 6, You don't have to go to the exact store that the app tells you to go to. For example, if you take a call at Stop and Shop and you see that it's a store that's about 1 to 3 towns away, you don't have to go to the exact store that the app tells you to go to. Let's say you know there's a Stop and Shop near you closer than the one that they're showing you. You're better off going to that one instead of the one that they're showing you, because it really can save you a heck of a lot of time. Especially if you know the layout of the store that's near you better than the one that they want to send you. It's a better option to go to the one that you know. Now granted, sometimes the app will tell you some items can only be shopped at the store. That's one thing you definitely have to plan out before you take on this method on a batch. Because let's just say you go to the store that's near you, that you know it's closer, and the app is telling you that this order can only be shopped at the store, the one that they want you to go to. But let's say none of that is popping up. You can always Google the nearest store for the batch that you're given, or on the app you can also just hit start shopping, where it can conveniently show you locations for the store that you want to go to instead of the exact store that they show you to go to. Makes life easier, makes things quicker, makes things flow more smooth. Because I've gotten some really good orders, $50 orders, $60 orders, and it was a store that was far away, and I knew the store near me better than the one that they wanted me to go to. Whenever I see those kind of calls, I always take them, and I'd rather go to a store that I know better, because I can get that done quicker and you can keep the day moving productively. Tip number 7, always communicate with the customer. I just had an order before. It was such a great example. There were 3 items that weren't available for this customer, and I was trying to contact them for every item that wasn't available, but they weren't responding. I didn't just want to leave the items unavailable, but at the same time I didn't want to just replace them. I didn't want to just replace them with anything that I thought was suitable. I thought if I got anything that I would want to get, the customer wouldn't like it, and that would end up biting me in the rear for my rating. And I would end up paying for that with my rating. Personally, from my experience, it's better to get no item than the wrong item, because a lot of customers can be very picky, which is very understandable. Tip number 8, park near the cart corral. If you park near the cart corral when you arrive at the store, it'll be a lot easier to put your cart away when you finish. It's common courtesy. It really helps the cart attendants to gather up all the carts a lot quicker, making the carts available for anybody who comes to the store, including you. I know a bunch of times that I went to a supermarket and I would see no carts available in the front. Once in a while I grab a cart from the parking lot, but sometimes I'm just walking up to the store looking for a cart when I arrive at the door, and sometimes they're not available, which isn't a crazy big deal. You can just go to the parking lot and find a cart. But it would be a lot better if you could just grab one as soon as you arrive to the door. If there are available parking spots, try this method. It can really help out a lot. It can make the process a lot more smooth. Tip number 9, bring a foldable, collapsible cart. I've seen a bunch of them on Amazon. Me personally, I don't have one, but there were so many situations where I found that I could have been using one. Like whenever I go to a hotel, apartment complex, or a building, I have not gotten one yet, and I know when I do, it's gonna make the life a lot more simple. I know a lot of us have been there where we have to carry jugs of water, 24 packs, 12 packs, a bunch of them at a time, and it would just really help out to have a foldable cart to bring all that stuff with you. Tip number 10, make sure your phone is always charged. When it comes to Instacart, there's a very few things worse than being in the middle of a call with a low battery. It could stop you halfway through shopping. You might have to go to your car to charge your phone. A lot of people carry around power banks, and that helps out a lot. Me personally, I invested in a portable power station. So whenever my phone's on low battery or whenever I need to get a charge, I'll just plug it up and I can take it with me wherever I go. And this thing stays charged for days. This thing that I have can power a gaming laptop, so it can power my phone for days without having to recharge it. And whenever I do have to charge it, I use my car. I don't have to bring it inside the house to charge it. I can just plug it up to my car and recharge it whenever I need more juice. And at the same time, it can charge my phone while I charge the power bank. There are so many tips that can be given for Instacart. It's a huge platform. Everyone has their different way of shopping. These are just a few tips you can use to make your experience on Instacart more enjoyable. If anybody has more tips to make the experience on Instacart more enjoyable, comment down below and let us know. I know that I've probably been gone for too long, but I'm here to stay, and this is the way. But I'm only going to keep pushing from here, so let's go. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.